Very much for the specifics in particular, and apologies for interrupting you right at the end. I never get invited back. It's always the same, unfortunately. Now, this is the chance for you to get involved as well, and if I could just repeat that point, please do come up with questions for our conversationalists here, but also any remarks. If you do have a question or remark, let's keep it as pithy and concise as you can. So, hands up if you have a point you would like to raise. Okay, yep, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I would like to make a comment that we really appreciated the presentations made this morning. I just have about 3 comments to make. I am Maneti Ramaidi. I'm the Minister of Tourism in Lesotho. One, I think the first presentation by Professor Lipman was very, very interesting. And we are saying to ourselves, yes, as a country, we embrace both renewable energies and tourism, but we think we need an impact assessment and cost-benefit analysis of the 2 sectors. Some of you know that Lesotho is a very small country, and when you talk about wind energy, unfortunately, the very sources of strong wind in that country are on the pristine sides for tourism. So be my guest. You are invited to Lesotho to help us come up with an assessment to inform the policy in that country as to which direction should we take. That's one. And then we also had a very interesting presentation by, well, it doesn't matter, but it's Alexandra, yes, about the government implementing taxation measures that will reflect the export value of tourism in our countries. We are also willing to do that because in Lesotho so far, we don't have a comprehensive analysis of where we are going. So we would like a baseline study that would enable us to move forward. And we appreciate the assistance of Dorothy in our country. We're hopeful that as we move forward, she'll be able to help us bring the other things together. Also from Madagascar, we are really excited about young people getting involved and focusing on the population, which is in most least developed countries, young people. And I think in our views in that country, we have quite a substantial population. And the challenge we have had as newcomers was how do we embrace the young population? And we have very good, innovative groups of young people coming up of how we can really value our national heritage. So we're hopeful to learn more from you as a young person also as to how we move forward with that. The last one is on New Zealand. Well, we are very grateful that we have donors amongst ourselves, but my observation is that these days, a lot of countries will say, you are not a priority country, so you cannot come on board, or we don't have any new funds coming. So the trick or the problem we're having as least developed countries is, how do we even learn from the models that you are promoting if you cannot assist us even to transfer or share the good experiences you have had? Thank you.
And so thank you very much indeed. Jeffrey, I think you wanted to pick up on a point there.
Well, just on the first point that the Minister made, and I think in a way it almost is a proof of how a country is ready for the kind of funding that should be available in the international community. There may not be funding out there for tourism, but there is, but it's inadequate. I mean, the World Bank, as a perfect example, made its first tourism serious donation this year of $35 million. Well, it's a cocktail party. I mean, it's crazy in terms of the money that's being spent. And this is a huge sector with enormous potential for the LDCs, and the financing funds should be available much faster and much more specific. But if you don't even look at the tourism, if you look at the funds that is being made available for renewable energy, that's significant money. So put the two together, just like the Minister says, and involve the energy companies who can see an opportunity to make money from this, and involve the tourism companies at the same time, and you begin to get the makings of a sort of market base. You can't live on the funding, you can't live on the subsidies, but at least it can kick-start underdeveloped markets to get to the stage where you can actually do something.
Alex.
Just wanted to add to that another source of funding that I think might be of interest to LDCs is the growing amount of funds which are available with regard to carbon credits. And I think actually that also links nicely into the tourism sector, because there are funds available, for instance, for preservation and the carbon that is then not emitted. And I feel this could be an interesting area, especially because I feel that it will grow moving forward.
Thank you, Alex. Amanda, I just wanted to ask you, how much private interest is there in some of the projects that you drew our attention to? Was it all your own work, or did you get private concerns on board?
Thanks. We very much try to engage the private sector so that it'll be sustainable long term. So rather than us going in as a donor and working just with government, it's always engaging the private sector, and we're trying in the Pacific Islands, given the scale, to make sure that we're doing that at the real local level, picking up the point that was made about population. I love that. It's such a great new triple P, so I'm going to use that too. Just a point to add on
you're trying. I mean, it's working, is it?
Oh, it is working, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And to add to the point that Jeffrey made about the World Bank, the International Finance Corporation, which is the private sector arm of the World Bank, has significant investments in tourism, and that may be a place to start. So I will speak to the Minister afterwards and give you a contact.
Dorothy, do you have any further advice about the ways to get funds, the way to make these things happen?
I think the key element really is to ensure that as LDCs, you first and foremost take ownership on the process, and that you are in a very clear sense giving a signal of where you would like the support to come through, because oftentimes what you get is that you have different signals coming through, and therefore those that are intending to respond to your needs are responding perhaps not what would necessarily be the priority, but because they have had interaction with other people before. So that signal has to be there. You have clarity in terms of the program and how it links into the overall country strategy, because then you're not dealing with isolated interventions, but addressing them in a holistic manner, and that its contribution to your economic growth, or indeed your poverty reduction efforts, can be clearly seen. I think there's a more positive response when that is provided in clear terms.
Thank you. And Patrick, you had a point I think you wanted to come in on.